I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?
Peace, family. It's so good to be back. I feel like we just had we were celebrating Professor James Small's birthday over the weekend, and we thought we were doing one thing, but we ended up being one hell of a conversation with Dr. Oba Tashaka and Professor James Small, just talking about African sacred sciences. So if you have not seen that show, please head over to our YouTube and check it out. It was dynamic. We thought we were going to be on for an hour. I think we ended up doing almost 3 hours, and these two elders sitting down, breaking down some stuff was just all worth it. So if you have not seen that show, make sure you go back on our YouTube channel. Now, that's the thing, guys. I'm just going to tell you now about our YouTube channel. Make sure you are subscribed. That's how you get everything. As soon as we go live, if you hit that notifications button, then, there it is. You're right there. You know exactly who we bringing on. You know all, you have all the scoop. So make sure that you are subscribed. We are so close to 30,000 subscribers. So we know we looked at our analytics, and about 5,000 people just watch our shows and comment, but aren't subscribed. So we need for you guys to subscribe. All right. It is so important that you guys do that. It not only helps our algorithm, but it more important than algorithms about money, about any of those things. What it does when you guys subscribe to us is that you get the message out, and we start to pop up in more people's feed, right? And the more people's feed that we pop up into, more people that look like us, we can get more and more, on this journey of knowing our history, so that we can make the right financial moves to then start to really flourish our community. So that's really what it's about. So when you support us by subscribing, which is free, it's free to subscribe, by, just subscribing to our channel and hitting that notifications button, it goes a long way. Also, family, make sure you are liking and sharing this video. Right there, like and share the video. All right. So before I get started with everything, I just do have to tell you guys that Queen Afua was scheduled to come on today. She, unfortunately, we have some little wires crossed, and she has another thing that she has to do right now. But she's coming on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. But we do have we have someone else that's going to come on tonight, Ellison Nidra, who is a spiritual advisor. She's a lot of things, but what she's going to do is talk about spiritual hygiene. Okay. And which is great, because we get to get this precursor about how we should just be taking care of ourselves in a spiritual manner, right? Connecting African sacred sciences to this. And then we'll have this conversation with Queen Afua tomorrow, which is how do you heal yourself? Because to heal yourself, to do anything to yourself, you got to know yourself. And where does it start? How do we start to do that? So it's going to be a really good show tonight with Ellison Nidra. She'll be coming on in a few minutes to just talk about our spiritual hygiene. But in the meantime, I want to say shout out to John Henry Staples. He is one of our elders from Riverview, Florida. I'm so happy when I see him in the chat. So how are you doing, Mr. Staples? Yes. And thank you, Manisha. That's so nice. Aw. Yes. And Elizabeth, I've seen a lot of these names. I've been seeing you guys were on, with us this past weekend, which is cool. And so, peace to the chat. Y'all looking good over here. Also, so let me just give you guys notice spill. In fact, I think I'm gonna start bringing somebody on here that's in our chat to talk about what I'm about to say right now. So HAPI Talks, everybody knows about, HAPI Talks, right? Because you guys seen us on YouTube, we popped up right when COVID started. But the reality is that HAPI Talks is a spinoff or it's a now it's really an arm of HAPI, which is our 2-hour documentary about money. It's the history of money. Okay. And it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. You can go to hapifilm.com to purchase it. And we have it in DVD, or you can stream it. And it's written, produced, directed by Taki Grant. He has 2 other films out there. You go to our website, you can see everything. But this movie, this documentary that we did, it contains like 30 scholars. Most of them, you've seen them on HAPI Talks. Okay. And shout out to South Africa. Listen, I was studying those analytics. We have a lot of love from South Africa, which is nice. I've been to South Africa twice, Table Mountain, really nice. But so one of our things that we're doing here at HAPI is that, we keep talking about trying to, there's a lot of different people out there that are doing economic awareness, financial literacy, all of those things. But those things are really they really can't work until you start to know who you are, right? Once you know who you are, then you know how you fit in the bigger piece, okay? You know who you are, you know your history. You're like, oh, wow, I really do come from greatness. Actually, I pretty much created everything, even the financial system. And that's why when you look at HAPI, you get all this rich history. So once you start to know that, then you start to connect with other like-minded people, right? And now we have our communities flourishing in a real way. We spend about $1.3 trillion. That's how much money we put into the economic system here in the world. And what do we have to show for it? And so this film, when you look at the documentary HAPI, and the complete name is HAPI, the role of economics in the development of civilization. Okay, once you look at HAPI, then you're like, oh, okay, you start to learn some stuff, and then you understand the importance of HAPI Talks, right? So it's really important, if you have not seen HAPI, that you look at HAPI. It is it's something you sit down with your family. You just don't look at it. Oh, let me just look at it. No. You got to bring some people. And we have DVDs and we have live stream. Okay. And then we have some other things. Now, the other piece is that we're going to be announcing something huge next month, and I want you guys to get the little discount, okay? So if you are not connected to the newsletter, you do not get a discount. We are not sending this newsletter out until, we're only sending it out one time in November, right? So you have to be on the newsletter list. And if you signed up and you have not been receiving the newsletter, check your spam, because we're in there, okay? But you just go to hapifilm.com, you hit get connected, and you will get connected. Okay. And we'll get your email address and get you all set up. But it's really important, you guys, if you follow us, that you follow HAPI Talks. Okay. That you follow, you're following us on HAPI Talks, but you actually see the documentary that we've been, that we've done. And you can see Taki's other 2 films. The other thing I need for you guys to do is making sure that you are liking and sharing this video. That's super, super important. But then follow us on all the social media. We're on everything, just like everyone: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And if you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to hit the super chat. Your monies that you give to us, they go right back into the community. We support our fellow brown business people. So please make sure that you are supporting, because these shows are not free. We are providing a service, but we have to pay for the service. So anything you can give, and we are appreciative of everything. And if you don't have it, I'm not trying to be in your pocketbook. Okay. If you don't have it, please make sure that you are liking and sharing the video, because that's also a form of currency, right? And then you pass it on to someone else and let them watch it, it's also a form of currency. So please make sure that you are helping us out there. And yes, I see a lot of our old time friends. There's Brian Smith. Yep, Katarina. Thank you, Ron, for signing up today. That's what's up. And here's another one of our elders. Yes, Miss Carol. I tell you, between Miss Carol's and Miss Staples, they are making my night tonight. These are two elders that are so tapped into the HAPI movement, and they call us, they give us feedback. They also give us suggestions. So shout out to our elders. And that's what elders are supposed to do. We had Dr. Julianne Melville on, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Not a couple weeks, actually a couple months ago. And she talked about the difference between elders and old people. And she said elders are always in a position of helping younger people and transferring knowledge, right? And she said sometimes old people are just old. They're not really interested in helping, young people. They're bitter about their lives and this and that. But I have to say we have some of the best elders over here in Hoppy Land. So shout out to Carol and Miss Carol, because they're elders, so it's Miss or Nana. and Mr. Staples. Thank you guys for being part of our family. The last thing I need for you guys to do is that when you go to hapifilm.com, there's also a button on there for One Africa. So a couple of months ago, and most of you guys know the story, but for some of those, like some of our new people who may not know the story. So we had about 200 or so people scheduled to go to Egypt in February, the end of February. And there started to be some ruckus online, and there might have been, like the different, how you can, I don't know how you do it, but, we started to get attacked like on our social media. And basically these were some, I don't know who these people were in terms of like I didn't know them, but they started to attack. And if you go to our Facebook page, you can still see some of the attacks, because we decided to leave it up there so people can be very clear. So in February, we were going to Africa. We had about 200 people, and we had 13 scholars coming with us, and they were going to deliver this message of returning to the source. It was called One Africa, Returning to the Source. And so there were people that was very upset that we had the audacity as Black people to come to Egypt and talk about our Blackness and where it was rooted from. And as a consequence, we had to pretty much cancel the trip for that time and the conference. So what we did was we didn't cancel nothing. We rescheduled everything. So we rescheduled the conference, and it turned into the One Africa Power and Unity Conference, right? And this Power and Unity Conference was needed because we felt like when we were there trying to battle these Egyptians about our history, right? We had to then figure out, okay, like who are our allies, who's here to help us, and when we look around, it's like the power and unity. It's us. We are the ones. Ifudishi says this all the time. We are the ones that we are waiting on, and we knew that we had to have a conversation about really what does the power of unity look like, because if one person or if one organization does not have support, then none of the organizations have support. So if they were able to do what they did to us, right, then that means that they can do it to anybody. And not only did we later found out that they actually did a change.org because they were so concerned about Black people, again, coming to Egypt and talking about our Blackness. So it's so important that that you guys support us, in watching the Power and Unity One Africa Power and Unity conference. It's $20. It's a nominal fee. You can download it or you can rent it, which is super cool. And if you can get all the information right there on hapifilm.com. All right, because if you figure these people they went to extremes to stop us from talking about who we are as people. So if they're doing this to shut us down, then that means that we must have something going on over here. So it's important that we get the family to come out and definitely support. And that, yes, Brian, you're right. That conference was off the chain. We had Sister Shawers Ali, Kaba Mean, Riza Islam, Professor James Small, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. It was hosted and emceed by Dr. Ken Harris, Bayina Bello, Dr. Susan Tata, Jabari Ozazi, Dr. Alicia Watkins. We had one hell of a time in Detroit. And so you guys can see it. We kept everything there. So it's literally just 13, it's about 12 hours, 12 or 13 hours of the conference. So make sure, if you have not, if you wasn't there in the house, or if you wasn't live streaming it, make sure you support. And yes, thank you. Yes, it was. And again, it's one of those things you sit down with your whole entire family. Okay, fam, I'm getting ready to bring on our guest. So I was telling you before that some signals got mixed up with Queen of Four. She's coming on tomorrow, though, at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So we will, the Queen will be in the house tomorrow at 5 p.m. and that's Thursday, October 27th. Well, we have another queen. Okay, we have Ellison Nidra is gonna come and talk to us now. The conversation we were going to have with Queen of Four that we will have tomorrow, this is like a precursor to that conversation. So she's going to talk to us about the power of healing ourselves. But how do we heal ourselves, right? How do we do that, if we're not even in touch with ourselves? And how do we get in touch with ourselves? We get in touch with ourselves, possibly one way we could is just by having a routine or a spiritual regimen, regime or regiment, that can help us to stay connected to who we are. So we are going to have Ellison come on, and she's going to talk about this and help us to create this spiritual maintenance. That's a good word, spiritual maintenance. And so then, we'll talk to her, and then tomorrow we'll talk to Queen. So without further ado, bringing on Ellison Nidra. Hey, Ellison.
Hey.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, thank you for coming. That's what's up. And thank you for coming on short notice.
That's all right.
Yes. So family, Ellison has been on a lot of shows. She's been touring with King Simon. She's been on Rich's Black Magic Show.
That's right.
Lloyd Strahan. Yeah, you've been getting around.
Yep.
Now
family.
Yep. And now you're on the HAPI Talks.
I am on HAPI Talks today. Yeah.
So I first want to say thank you for coming on, and thank you for coming on. So now, can you just talk to us a little bit about like what you do before we get started? Like, what do you do?
Okay, sure. So to start off, I'm a spiritualist. I'm a spiritual advisor, a psychic medium. I do spiritual consultations. I do healing work. It's a lot that I do. Rituals, just working with the spiritual realm and being able to help people overcome fears, overcome issues, personal issues, gain clarity. So that's pretty much what I do. I do quite a bit when it comes to that realm of spirituality.
Yes. So, so I guess my question is, when we're talking about the spiritual maintenance, when people come talk to you, they're already in something, or, and so, do you counsel people on like just developing some things we should be doing within the spiritual realm?
Yeah, I have. Yes, I do. Especially if someone is coming to me for mentorship, they will get like an understanding of exactly how to ground themselves and being able to be more receptive to what spirit has to say. A lot of times, if it's just a spiritual consultation or a reading, then, a lot of times if they are going through a situation, and one thing I want to mention about this, readings are basically a roadmap to where you are energetically. Okay, so there's many paths when it comes to your energy and what the future may hold. I'm not a future or a fortune teller, or I don't tell the future. I'm just more so of a guidance counselor, okay? Spiritual guidance counselor. So I'm able to see exactly where you are energetically and guide you to your highest path, okay? So if someone isn't in the best energy and I'm just going to say it like that, if they're lower vibrational, if they have a lot of things going on, if they're heavy, baggage, then I would guide them to practical steps that they can take to lighten their load, that they can do on their own.
Okay. So that's okay. Thank you. So that's where we want to start at. Okay. So this is the thing. So when you talk about like low vibrations and not just being in a place just to receive anything, what are some basic things that we should be doing just to keep our vibrations up and to be in a place where we can receive downloads from our spiritual guides?
Sure.
Like, what are some basic things we should be doing?
Okay, so basic.
Yeah.
Without any tools, going outside into nature, getting sunlight, getting fresh air, making sure that you drink plenty of water, because water is a conductor, okay? And it also helps with the flow of energy. So just making sure that you're hydrated, drinking water, going outside, putting your feet on the ground. And if you can't, due to weather restrictions, then just getting outside, getting sunlight, it helps raise your frequency or your energy.
Okay, so we're going to go back for a minute, because you said, like not just walking, but actually taking off your shoes and socks and grounding.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a ancient technique called grounding, pretty much, or earthing, where the earth is able to transform or transmute your energy. It balances out your electromagnetic field. Okay. So that's important. That field around you is what picks up energy. It keeps you balanced if it's imbalance. So it's like really important to how you operate to make sure that you're balanced in that way.
Okay. All right. And families,
does that make sense?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Okay.
Just like if you don't have, like, you don't need, money to do those things that you're saying. You said stay hydrated. And that's like not just drinking like a little half a cup of water, but really using water, in a real way.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
At least, 64 ounces, but typically they say to drink half your body weight in ounces. So for example, if you're 200 pounds, you want to drink 100 ounces. You just want to make sure that you're hydrated at all times.
Okay. All right. So that's a way of the water being grounded and getting sunlight. Okay. So those are basic things with no tools, and we should be doing those every day.
Exactly.
Okay. So what else do we need in terms of our spiritual hygiene?
Well, getting more so into tools.
Okay.
Smudging is a technique that uses some form of sage or Palo Santo, resins, incense, any type of smoke from like an herb or an incense or a resin to cleanse your energy. And pretty much what you will want to do with that is you light it, let the fire go out, or you blow the fire out, and just, go across your energy or your aura field around your body to make sure that you're coming in contact with that smoke to release negative energy, to cleanse it.
Yeah. And so what is the mindset when you're doing this? Because, I can know, like, sometimes I talk to people and they're like, oh, that doesn't work or whatever. I'm just thinking, I wonder what they was thinking when they was doing it. Because it seems to work for me. But I don't know. I'm just like, so like, what, like, can you just kind of walk us through, what should be our thought process as we're doing these things?
Okay. Well, that's really good. Having an intention set is most definitely, important. You want to, when you go into these things, you want to have an intention that this is what I'm doing. I am cleansing my energy, and then you cleanse your energy. So you just want to set an intention.
Yeah. And I like how you're saying how we should say it So you're thinking it, but you're also saying it, because when you're saying it, it also, people are always saying that our words are the most powerful thing that we have going for us. So if we say, "Oh, I'm broke," well, we will be broke.
Yes.
So if you're saying you're cleansing your energy, you're speaking it into existence. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And and family, I just want to say that these things that we're talking about, these things are, rooted in African sacred sciences. This, people are kind of mixing them up and kind of trying to sell it back to us right now. But these are things that we were doing way before, before 2022.
That's
And
right.
so these are things that are really part of who we are as people,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So saging,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so cleansing
Saging.
energy.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So with the sage, that's one smudging tool, but there's also another popular one, Palo Santo.
Okay.
And these different herbs or tools, resins, woods, they all serve a different purpose.
Mm.
Sage is good for cleansing energy. Palo Santo is good for cleansing energy, but also raising the frequency or raising your vibration. So it helps to bring in positive energy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know every time I travel, I have this big old stick of sage, and when I get to the hotel, I sage. I go to corners. I move in the curtains. I'm always doing that.
That's
And
smart.
yeah,
Because you
anywhere
never know who's in the room,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. You never know who's in the room. I like
Yeah.
that. A family, please make sure that you are liking and sharing this video. And if you are right there, I see King Simon in the house, and I got this line right here where it says, show your Hoppy love via the Cash app. I got that from King Simon. I was on his show one time, and he was like, "Oh, show me some King Simon love." And I was like, "What's King Simon love?" Right there on the Cash app. So I appreciate you, King.
So love.
Yes.
So love,
Yes.
family.
Yes. And family, know that when you support us, that our monies go right back into not only building out Hoppy, but it goes to Black people who are helping us do that. Okay. If you also, if you're on YouTube, if you could just hit you can hit the super chat. And if now we're on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, you can actually buy stars, and it's the same thing. So there's plenty of ways to give money to us so that we can continue to do our job out here in these streets. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we got the basic ways on, like, with no tools: grounding, getting sun, and drinking water. Now, these are things that we need to be doing that should be in our spiritual, I guess, handbook, or,
Yeah. Our arsenal.
Yes. Arsenal. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
I like that. Okay. So, so the saging is one thing, and what else?
Spiritual baths.
Okay.
Once again, water is very cleansing, is a conductor. So taking a spiritual bath is one way to cleanse your energy. And that's specifically speaking on cleansing your energy, making sure that you are cleansing yourself of any negative influences or energy. So we're specifically talking about cleansing at this point. So with the spiritual bath, there's many different ways that you can take a spiritual bath. Spiritual baths hold multiple purposes. But for cleansing purposes, sea salt is a cleansing agent as well. So being able to use sea salt in your bath water, it helps to cleanse the energy. Okay. Another cleansing agent for your bath water or your spiritual bath would be Epsom salt.
Okay.
There are cleansing herbs. There's herbs that you can use for cleansing. Rosemary is one of those herbs. There are more, I don't know if you can find these herbs in like the grocery stores, but rue is a very cleansing herb that you can use.
And wait, and how do you spell it? Would you say?
RUE, rue.
Oh, rue. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is really good for cleansing negative energies. So yeah, being able to soak in water with these elements in there, praying or setting your intentions while you're in there, visualizing to remove the negative energy, that really helps with lightening any heavy emotions or just any negative feelings that you may be feeling.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Can you comment when a person said you cannot burn the sage incense? Okay, I'm sorry. I was reading something Shirley Muhammad had posted. Okay. So this whole idea of because you keep bringing this up, you start talking about intention, and so before we go on, can you just talk about the importance of intention, really what intention is, and just really the importance of intention?
Okay, sure. So intention is when you
Wait,
set your
oh wait, and you know what? I'm sorry.
okay.
And family, if you guys have been a subscriber to us on our newsletter, Ellison actually for a time period was helping us out and was writing a lot of the health articles.
Yes.
Okay. So she has extensive, if you look back at some of your old newsletters, there's extensive articles about spiritual baths, spiritual, like all of these spiritual maintenance type of things. She crystals and
Yes.
she did a lot of really good articles. So family, this is what we're saying, like we ain't just about talking. The people who we have that are writing articles are really committed to making sure that we are living our best lives, because we are in a war. Okay. And we have to
That's
not
right.
only be physically ready, but we also have to be spiritually ready to fight this war. And so these are all the things that we need to make sure that happens. All right, go ahead.
You're absolutely correct, Felicia.
Yeah.
We are in a war. It's a spiritual war, it's a psychological war. So when it comes to setting your intention, you want to just be very clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it. So that's the basis of setting your intention, whether it's mentally or verbally. A lot of times we don't have to say things out loud, although your verbal expression, it sends out a frequency into the ethers or the universe,
Mm-hmm.
which the universe responds to. But just knowing exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it is important, because you're doing this with purpose. Okay. So once you set your intention, you're able to fully be engaged in the process of what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you're saying. All
Does
right.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So the intention, so sometimes, like people do things to you and then they're like, well, this happened, but that wasn't my intention. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, no, because I'm always like just curious to know about this whole idea of intention, because to me, it seems like that's probably one of the most important things is like, what was your intention, when you set out to do whatever you were setting out to do?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So we're not just, walking outside like, oh, I'm just going to just walk on outside. We're having a straight up intention about what we're doing at all times so that we can really elevate our frequency and cleanse out things that don't need to be around us.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to talk to us about, well, before you talk to us about what you were about to talk about, I see that in the chat, there's like this whole big thing going on about sage. Like, how do we buy the sage to burn? Like, okay, so let's just back up for a quick second. And can you talk to us? Because I know there's like different types of sages.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen red sage and white sage. I don't know.
White sage, blue sage.
Okay, yes. So can you just talk to us a little bit about sage and kind of just get us together with that?
Sure. So that's a very extensive topic, because there are different types of sages. Typically when you go out to purchase sage, you just want to be mindful. You want to feel, being able to feel, or just, being in tune with your energy, and the energy of, the sage is really ideal when you pick, what you need for you. So when you buy sage, You can ask questions like, what is this sage good for? White sage is your all-purpose sage. It's good for cleansing. The red sage, which is dragon's blood sage, it has an extra oomph to it. It's a little bit more powerful. It has dragon's blood resin. The blue sage, from my understanding, I've never used blue sage, but they say that it's good for exorcisms. So that's like really heavy energies where you're having to exercise out, like the really heavy dark energies, possibly from for those who believe, demonic possessions, or demonic possessions. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's different realms to the spiritual realm, pretty much. It's like different dimensions, so for those who believe in demons, it's very much so true to them. For those who believe in spirit guides, it's very much so real to them. It's just different levels to spirituality.
Yeah, definitely. I'm one to believe in spiritual guides.
Yeah,
I would not be sitting here with this is like I wouldn't even be sitting here without them. So okay, so we were talking about the spiritual baths, and you were talking about the different things you can put in your bath to help with the cleansing piece. Either the salt, or like Epsom salt. And what else do you put in your bath?
Herbs.
And herbs.
Herbs, yes. You can do your research to find out which herbs are best for cleansing. But when it comes to, how you would apply the herbs to your bath, a lot of times just boiling the herbs in a pot and pouring the mixture or the tea from the herbs in your bath water is efficient.
Okay. And how often should you take spiritual baths?
It depends on the individual. Now, if you are someone who is just, going out into the community, going to work, being with family, going to different social events, I would say at least once a week or once every 2 weeks, just a quick sprucer, But if you're someone who is into spirituality, who, taps into other people's energies, then, I would say a little bit more frequent. But it all depends on the individual.
Okay. Yeah. I have a friend who every time, like when we go places, she can just pick up everyone's energy.
Yeah.
And it seems to just like sit on her. Whereas I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm almost the opposite, in terms of, just taking on everybody's things around me. And so I can see how, you're saying like somebody like her may need to take more spiritual baths.
That's right.
At a different frequency than someone, perhaps like me who
thrives in energy.
Yeah, I thrive in energy. Yeah. I thrive in energy. Like it actually feeds me. And it seems like I have some type of filter that just kind of filters out bad energy, but the good energy, it definitely makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's your purpose, That's your purpose, to take on energy and to disperse it the way that it needs to be dispersed. Everyone is built different. So yeah, I would say it just depends on the individual.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, continue with the things for spiritual maintenance. All right.
Okay, so we got a lot of the cleansing together and the grounding. You also have to make sure that you're protecting yourself, just like your friend, like you mentioned, how she goes out and she's absorbing so much energy. You have to protect yourself because some people do absorb energy more than others. Okay, and some good ways to protect yourself while you're out here is crystals. That's like one of the easiest ways you can get a crystal just about anywhere. Your black crystals, such as tourmaline or obsidian, is really good for, protecting yourself, or even absorbing negative energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Any crystal that's red in color, like a red jasper, that correlates to your root chakra. And your root chakra is responsible for you feeling protected and secure. So working with red crystals, even working with your root chakra, just somehow doing exercises to strengthen your root chakra so you have like a better foundation of security and safety is really good for protecting yourself. Another thing that you can do, I know it's a lot, we're going down the list though.
Yeah.
But you can also do visualizations and meditations for cleansing, protecting, and grounding. But more specifically for protection, you want to kind of, close your eyes and envision a white light or whatever color light that may feel safe and secure for you around you. And as you're visualizing this light around you, you want to affirm that I am protected over and over, setting your intentions that this is my bubble of protection. Okay. And you can call on your ancestors, your spirit guides, making sure that they're there with you to protect you as well.
Yeah. So you know what, this sounds a lot like sometimes I'm always like, before I'm getting ready to do something, I was like, I gotta get my mind right. And this is essentially you helping us get our minds right by doing these things,
Awesome.
and it seems like, you have to say things so that they can happen, even if you're saying them inside. But if you want them to happen, you have to actually, like say them.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Affirmations. Like when you speak, even the cells in your body respond. So it's like saying a command, and your cells in your body is like, okay, Captain, we're going to execute what you're saying. So
yeah. And I can understand, like, if you have if you're going through any type of medical issue, how, you want to, you need to start changing the cellular makeup of your body. And one of the ways, is definitely by, by speaking certain things into existence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And making sure that your vibration is high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And family, I don't know if you guys know, but I was diagnosed with breast cancer like years ago. And I remember when I, first found out, and my son's babysitter's mother was, she had, I want to say it was like stage 3 or 4, ovarian cancer. And basically the doctors was like, hey, listen, you're out of here. And so she was like, no, in her mind, she was like, that's not going to happen. And so she started to work. Coincidentally, she was working with Queen of Four, and she started doing all these different types of wraps around like her uterus and her root chakra, like all of these things. And so she knew how to heal herself, right? So when she found out this happened to me, she called me right away. And the first thing she told me was, she's like, you have to start thinking positive. And she was like, I know you're a positive person, but she's like, anytime a negative thought comes in, she's like, you have to stop it and turn it into a positive, because she's like, you have to keep the cells, the good cells in your body going the right way, and they have to multiply. And that was one of the things. And at the time, I was like, I was like, okay, I was just thinking, this is an older Black lady telling me this, and she's still alive after all the stuff she went through, so she might know something. So let me just try to, tap into that. And in family, we're not trying to say that this is so easy. You just like click a button and, oh, I'm positive now. But the reality is that you do have to click a button in your mind saying that you're gonna really work on trying to keep saying the right things in your mind over and over and over again.
Yep. I most definitely agree with it not being the easiest, especially if you are, a person who has had trauma, but this is something that you keep on working at, you got to keep going. Like you have to keep going. Even if you have bad moments, you got to get out of that whenever you get out of it and just keep going. You have to keep going.
Yeah. And we come from a people who know how to keep going. So that's
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We know how to keep going. Okay. So we're doing the we're doing the regular things that that are free, that we don't have to pay for. We're just going out there, the grounding work, the drinking and staying hydrated. There's also a way you said of protection as well, and then getting sunlight. Those are the basic things. And then you talked about this whole idea of spiritual baths.
Yes.
And the frequency should be maybe once every week or maybe 2 weeks. But if you're a person who tends to take in a lot of people's energy,
that's right,
you got to get those deposits out of your body. And so that's another way you were saying with a spiritual bath.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep. And then we were talking about protection.
Yes. Yes. So with the protection, we mentioned the crystals. When you do pick a particular crystal, some people believe that you have to cleanse your crystals, but a crystal is a crystal. Crystals were here for the longest of time. So they already had a purpose. Their purpose is to, give out the energy that they're supposed to give out, So, you can program your crystal by cleansing it underwater, in the moonlight, sunlight, putting it in salt, burying it in the ground, praying over your crystal, visualizing light. There's so many different ways to cleanse your crystal. But when you get ready to program your crystal and give it a specific purpose or setting the intention, you want to hold it in your right hand.
Okay.
And you want to speak to your crystal saying, thank you, crystal, for the purpose that you're serving and, to protect me. Just speak to your crystal. You want to form a relationship with your crystal, and boom, your crystal is activated, but that depends on the individual. These are things that you can do, but a crystal is a crystal. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. Okay. Yeah. That's just adding more energy to your crystal when you are very intentional with how you care for your crystal and actually forming a relationship with your tools.
Yeah. And you know what, family, and as you was talking, I was just thinking that, all the places in Africa where most of the crystals, and listen, I'm not a crystology. Okay. So I'm going to defer to a crystologist, but all the quarries where these crystals come from, a lot of them are located in Africa, and a lot of them are not even owned by us anymore. But if you think about how we just had access to these things so easily,
yeah,
and so we know these things are things that we, that can heal us. We know that these things was in the earth for us to just to be able to function and to thrive. So
absolutely
what you're saying about these crystals. All right. So the protection, the crystals, the drinking more water.
Yes.
The more
visualizations.
And visualizations.
Yeah, meditations.
And meditation. Yeah. So let's talk about this, because what, family, what we're doing is we're trying to help everyone to create like a really good spiritual hygiene, because our ancestors, our spiritual guides, God, they're talking to us all the time. And sometimes, we can create a body in which we can get those downloads quicker and be able to understand them. And these are, Ellison's given us ways so that we can, so we can get tapped in quicker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, can you talk to us about this whole idea of meditation?
Okay. Well, meditation doesn't have to necessarily be, you sitting there still and, trying to clear your mind. Everyone is different. Some people, they can't cut off their thoughts. So in those times of, you trying to be still, just listen to what your body or your mind or your spirit is trying to tell you, and even write it out. That's a form of meditation, being able to write out your thoughts and, go back a little bit later and read what you wrote. Anything can be meditation, exercising and zoning out, that's a form of meditation. Anything that you can kind of just still your mind in a sense to where you're able to focus on your thoughts or just focus on one thought, that's a form of meditation. Breathing, deep breathing could help induce meditation. It is a form of meditation. So it's just different techniques for everyone. Everyone can't just do the same things.
Yeah. You know what? I know I was struggling a lot with this meditation idea. So I called up King Simon. And the reason why I'm bringing up King Simon, because Ellison has been on tour with King Simon. So she knows King Simon very well. So I called King Simon up and I'm like, I'm having a hard time meditating. And I was like, I need some ways of how to do this. And he was like, and he really talked about just kind of like what you said. And he was like, listening to music.
Yeah.
And he's like, it doesn't need to be just sitting down and try to be quiet and be and waiting for things to happen. It does happen that for some people like that, but other people there's different ways to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Music is a good one. Dancing, something, moving your body, and walking meditations. People do walking meditations where they walk and just go over their thoughts.
Yeah, I'm with you, Elizabeth. Music is real, especially old school R&B.
Yeah.
Yes. So okay. So meditation. So and are those so that's basically like ways that we can just to start to develop spiritual hygiene, because there's another area I want to kind of talk to you about, which is this idea of altars, because a lot of us talk about altars, but I want to make sure we covered everything else in terms of of spiritual hygiene.
Well, I just want to also mention quickly, your diet is important. Okay, what you eat, what you ingest with your eyes,
Okay.
What you hear, that's a part of your diet as well.
You said ingest with our eyes. What does that mean?
Like okay. I'm gonna say social media, depending on what you're seeing on social media, but anything that induces fear could be very low vibrational, just low vibrational things that you watch.
Okay.
Low vibrational things that you hear, conversations that you partake in, the people that you have around you, that's a part of your diet as well.
Okay, wait. You ain't about to skip over that, Ellison. Yeah. We can talk about that. We just a quick little break for a second. Family, please making sure you are liking, sharing this video. This is the first time Ellison Nidra is in on HAPI Talks, but she's been writing for our newsletter for a few months, giving us those really nice, thorough health articles. Oh my. So it's nice to have you, finally sitting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Dropping down, dropping this knowledge to us. So make sure you're liking, sharing this video. If you are on, and I want to say peace to the Cash App Love, Jean Smith and Sonia DeWitt. Thank you. All monies help us with our mission, and HAPI's mission is we have 4 principles as part of the HAPI movement. Love Black people, number 1. Number 2 is to support Black business. Number 3 is to become more financially astute with your money. And number 4 is to teach the youth the truth. So all people, when they come onto this platform, they are tapping into either one or all 4 of those things in terms of what makes them like the perfect HAPI guest. Okay. And something you said, Nidra, I'm like, yes, listen, we are high vibrational social media over here in the HAPI Talks land.
That's facts.
Yes. If you are on YouTube, you can hit us on a super chat, or you can, if you are on Facebook, you can buy the stars, or you can send us some Cash App love. So thank you for thinking about us. And right there, Lily, wow, that's my wow, that's my childhood name is Lily. So yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Lily, for your contribution. Okay, so wait, you said some little things here. So when you were saying that we have to be mindful of certain things, like things that our eyes ingest. So not just like physically, because I was thinking about you when you said, I was just thinking about food. So
Mm-hmm.
you're saying things that we look at and people that we're around. Talk a little bit about that a little bit more.
Okay, sure. So with what we're seeing, especially when it comes to what, is on TV, a lot of times, this is very controversial as far as how, they're putting certain programming or subliminals in the background of what we watch to, program our kids, program us to behave a certain way or live a certain lifestyle. You just got to be mindful what you're watching.
Yes.
With the social media, we have influencers who use their power not necessarily for the highest means, so you just want to be mindful of that, what you're watching.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to movies, I used to be a person who enjoyed scary movies, but a lot of times it's like it's negative energies involved in that, like when it comes to Hollywood, I don't want to get too, controversial about this, but rituals take place, so we don't necessarily have proof, but this is, what is said. And now that we're in this age of information being released, more things are coming out about, the media. And
Yes.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, no, this is the age of Hoppy, the age of Aquarius. Yes, it is the age of yes.
So
yes. Sherry said some things too. Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, subliminal suggestions. Yes.
Yeah.
So you just want to be mindful of what you're watching and what you hear, the music as well. Yeah, and just really quickly touching on food, the food that you eat, you just want to eat more natural foods from the earth, to raise your vibrations, like your fruits, your vegetables,
Yeah. And family, this is the thing. Sometimes when you're thinking about doing something, you may get overwhelmed because you're like, okay, this is a lot for me to be doing.
Yeah.
And so this is not to overwhelm you. This is just to give you some information. And even if you just start to incorporate these things on a small scale, you'll see tremendous work. I've been working with Ellison for a while, and a lot of these things, I would be asking her. The reason why I can ask all these questions is because I would be asking her all types of stuff, like a spiritual bath. I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. I was like, you just sit here and you just like, God help. I mean, like, I didn't know what that entailed. And then so she started breaking it down and the importance of it. And so, this stuff really, really works with helping you get tapped in, right?
Yes.
Because it's all about getting tapped in. Okay. All right. So you were all right. So we were getting ready to talk about altars.
Yes.
A lot of people, talk about altars. So can you just give some little history about altars and how we can start to make that part of our spiritual hygiene?
Okay, so altars are very traditional. It's a very ancient I would say a portal, a spiritual portal where you can connect to your spirit team or to, a deity or a netter or, your ancestors, your angels, your guides. You can connect to them from this place of it's sacred, consecrated place specifically for meeting your spirit team. Okay.
Yes.
When you set up your altar, you want to, for the most part, keep it as simple as possible until you're able to work with someone who specifies and who specializes, in building altars, because once again, this is a portal where spirit can come through to meet you. So some of the basics when it comes to setting your altar, you want to have a candle, a white candle specifically to light the way. You know, you want to have all your elements such as water, incense, and something from the earth realm, which could be a plant or a crystal. Okay. There are different altars for different purposes. When it
Yes.
comes to your ancestors, you know, you want to honor them and, you know, place pictures of your ancestors that you had a relationship with, because not all of your ancestors, you know, may be for you. You know, we never know exactly what some of our ancestors did in their life. So, you know, you want to have a connection with those that you know of, you know, unless you really get into ancestral work where you're working to help elevate some of those ancestors who were a bit darker, you know, who had traumatic experiences or, you know, had their own issues.
Okay.
Okay. But like the ones that you connect to the most, the ones that were here and are passed on, are the ones that most definitely are able to help you. They're
Okay.
right there and readily available.
Yes. And so okay, so on the altar you have water, you said all the elements, water, earth, you can do crystal or plant, pictures,
Mhm.
and incense. I see someone's asking you know about the incense piece. So you want to have incense or well, I guess like what purpose does incense have on the altar? Because you also have a white candle, right? You said the
Mhm.
white candle. So what yeah, can you just talk to us a little bit about the whole incense piece?
Sure. Incense or it's like it's smoke. The smoke from the incense is what helps to bring on communication between the spiritual realm. It's
Okay.
once again one of those elements of it's the element of air or communication. So it's just, you know, to help, you know, with the flow of the energy, but also communication. You know, a lot of times in you know, the more ancient times, they use incense in their prayers to help send up the prayers, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because Sherry was asking which one's better, or yeah, she uses frankincense and myrrh. I think
Frankincense and myrrh is perfect.
yeah, I think almost every black person has that.
Yeah.
That's like a standard issue for like every black person I know. You know, yeah. Okay.
Me in particular, I really love resins. You know,
Mm.
you can buy frankincense and myrrh in a resin form, and typically you would just get like a black charcoal disc, light it, and place your resins on top of the disc, and it creates smoke.
Yeah. So, family, I gotta just kind of comment on that. So, yes, I love resins, and the first I hadn't once I started working with Ellison, and she was talking about this whole idea about resins. I was like, okay. So we went to Egypt. So Hoppy is always busy taking folks to Egypt to Kemet. And on our way, or I'm sorry, on Philae Island, um, we stop at this shop all the time. And this man he's the definitive man with resins. And
Mm.
so, yeah, so you can buy big old things of frankincense and myrrh in a resins form. I mean, I'm not telling you that's the only reason you should travel with Hoppy, but I am saying that it is a luxury or is a benefit if you do travel with us to Kemet, because we stop at some of the really best shops, and we stop at this place where it really has like real true oils, true
Mm.
resins that are really really nice, and they do it's a whole different experience actually when you're lighting those versus incense.
Yeah, I look forward to going on one of the Hoppy tours.
Yes,
Yes,
Ellison Nidra needs to come.
yes, I am.
Yes, and you need to bring King Simon. Okay.
Yes,
I was like, look, King Simon hasn't gone yet. And I'm like, he has a lot of people he can go with because he knows everybody. But I do hope that he chooses to kind of hang out with us at least one of these times. And yourself. Yeah, you got to come to Happy Tours. Um, all right. So you were saying that also you want to have, another form of air. Okay, now what about food? Some people put food on their altar and some people don't. Some, like, what do you do with the food? Can you, like, how does that work?
Okay. The food is used as an offering. It's just energy. How I see it is energy that, the spiritual realm or your spirits use to fuel whatever, your intention is or whatever work you're doing. But typically, I mean, it's all based on what you feel. Some people say leave it just a day, overnight, and then you can discard it. um some people actually leave food offerings longer than that. you know so I mean, it really is based on what your intuition is telling you. you
Mm,
know that's a very traditional way of offering, something to your spirits, is through food.
mhm,
Very traditional. Some people don't offer food at all.
mm.
you know so it really depends on your personal beliefs and what your spirits say.
Yeah, and you know what, family, I'm telling you, if you need somebody to work with, you definitely want to work with Ellison, because one of the things, I love how you're answering questions. You're like, it depends on you and your intuition, and that's a way that you start to get to know and listen to your own voice,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah. So we're just giving you structure right now. We're just saying these are some things you might want to consider. But once you start working with it, because when you said, you want to, look at your sage and see which one fills with you, I'm thinking, I don't think I do all of that. I go to the health food store and just get the little bundle and just, I'm not even thinking about it. But now I'm going to have to stop and like think and really try to, make sure that, these things are the right things. I usually just pick things up. I don't, it's that, I'm usually not
Well,
that.
I will say this, Felicia. Whatever you decide, whatever you grabbing is for you.
Yeah.
Like whatever you grab is for you. Because if it wasn't for you, I'll just say, you wouldn't have it in your possession, and
Mhm.
you can pray over your stuff. You
Yeah.
can easily pray over your items. It's no issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, all right. So that's like the ancestral altar. What other types of altars out there?
Oh, there's a lot. There
There's a
are many altars that you can set up. You can set up an altar to your Ori for those who practice Ifa. Your Ori is your higher self. You can set up an altar to yourself, you
lot.
know, to help you embody more of your higher self or embody the things that you would like to see from yourself, a higher version of yourself, to give yourself honor and praise, to build yourself up. You can do altars to Orishas, to the Netter, to Loas. You can do all types of altars. You can do money altars, anything that you would consider to have a spirit, you can set up an altar for, you
Okay.
know. Yep. And for those who aren't aware, money is a spirit, so you can set up an altar for money, because it's an energy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, family, if you want to get in contact with Ellison, you can hit her up at the Modern Day Sage, and that's the handle for all of your social media as well. Correct?
Um,
Is
yes, it is.
okay. Yes. So, family, you can is the body an altar? Okay. Joseph is asking, is the body an altar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is an altar. It's a temple,
Yeah.
you would consider it holy and sacred, and you would consecrate yourself, for whatever purpose you consecrate yourself for, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I tell you, once you start knowing that your body's a temple, when you're doing stuff you ain't got no business doing, you really feel horrible about it. When you eat the McDonald's and you know the McDonald's ain't for your temple, you
That's
know it's not. But you eating that fish fillet and sweet tea and fry. I ain't saying it. I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I'm eating the, but I'm just saying, that a lot of times, once you start looking at yourself in a different way, that you hold yourself in a different manner, and you start to do things that are in honor of that. And
that's
that's really what this is about.
that's right.
Yeah. I see TH is saying that we have beautiful energy because we're both from the D,
Yeah.
both from
Thank
Detroit.
you. Thank you, TH.
Yeah. I don't know who TH is, but every time TH comes on, he gives nothing but love.
That's just
Yeah. So, all right. So I think, this whole idea of kind of giving us some things to really think about when we're starting to think about our spiritual hygiene, right? And other ways to get tapped in. So once you are tapped in, okay, or how do you know if you're tapped in or not? Let me ask that. How do you know if you're tapped in?
okay. I'll just say you just know. Like when you just know, but you may notice you dream more, and for those who do dream, you're tapped in. You just have to kind of navigate that energy a little bit differently or develop that energy. But you find yourself in situations where it may seem like it was divine. A lot of times people see numbers repeatedly, such as your 111, 222, 333. That's indicator that you're in alignment with the universe or you're tapped in. You just know things. You can have a conversation with someone and then in a completely different setting, you're hearing that same conversation. That's just letting you know that you're in alignment, especially if it's meant for you. So it's like different ways, your numbers, synchronicities, once again, just, seeing things repeatedly, feeling, it's a feeling as well. When you feel very much so in alignment or you have like these butterflies, it's different for everyone. But it's a feeling. You feel like you're in alignment. Your feelings are more so in depth. You can feel more. So
Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you, I'm feeling this little chat today. You guys are all up on Ellison's words and chiming. So I want to appreciate you guys really putting these things in the chat. These comments, it's important to comment because of course, it helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. But it's really good so that other people can see themselves, right? And get just different inspirations.
that's true.
Yeah, Ellison has given us inspiration. Just being on this platform, HAPI Talks is giving inspiration, but you guys are also a contributor of that inspiration. So,
That's right.
yes, yeah. And sometimes, I was thinking, I remember the first time somebody talked about, it wasn't somebody, it was actually Professor James Small. He was the first author that I saw at his house where he's, but he was the first person to say, this is an altar. I had seen altars. My mother had altars all throughout the house, but she didn't even know it was an altar, but it's the things that she saw her father doing. And so can you just talk to us a little bit about this notion of, because the show that we had this past weekend, Dr. Oba Tishaka, and if you guys are not following Oba Tishaka, please follow him. He is one dope elder, okay? But he was talking about how a lot of what these practices that you're talking about was hidden within traditional religions. And so, when it was hidden, like they knew what they were hiding, but as it went on, we didn't, we're doing things, but we don't know that that's actually, a hoodoo. We don't know that those things are part of like our African sacred sciences, and we're just doing stuff. So that was like an example. Like my mom, she had all like these altars of her past family members that she was, honoring, but she didn't know that they were altars. Yeah.
Okay. So you want me to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Some of those traditions that we pass on or that our parents and their parents passed on to them. Well, one of the traditions that I am aware of, when I was younger, my grandmother, she used to burn the 7-day candles, those jar candles. And, she would say her prayers and it would help her come into more money. or whatever the purpose of the candle was for. I noticed that she burned candles. She used to read the Psalms as well. Psalms, just from that perspective, it does hold power because we put that power into the Psalms. We've put so much power into these different tools that, although we know different now, it still has power because of the energy that we put into it. So, saying Psalms for different reasons and purposes, whether it's to get an enemy off of you or you want to pray for protection. A lot of the elders, they go to their Psalms, and that was a whole spiritual practice within itself.
Because a lot of our things were hidden within the Bible, within this idea of Christianity. So that makes sense.
And that's even with our, for those who practice Ifa or, Haitian hoodoo, or voodoo, the Loa and the Orishas are covered up by saints. So a lot of times when we're praying to different saints, those are Orishas or Loas, that we're actually praying to, for those who still subscribe to Christianity. So, it's still
rooted in Blackness.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, family, this is why we gotta know history. Because once you start knowing who you are, you're like, oh, that's how they covered it up. Oh, that's how they're using it. And then, they repackage it and kind of sell it back to us like it's something they invented. But these were like our things. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So when they, our African ancestors had to travel here were forced here to America, they still had to keep their culture and their beliefs alive. So, when they try to conform them to Christianity, they had to keep it going. So they covered it up with the saints, and that's even with, Haiti and, Cuba, they synchronize the Orishas and the Loas with saints, and once they got to America, it's just transformed. They still are very much so our African deities or Orishas, but it just had to transform into a different form.
Yeah. Yes, you're right, BJ. Yeah. That's why if you know what they took and repackaged it, then you can undo the matrix. So family, I just want to this quick little shout out to everyone up in the chat. Thank you guys for for contributing. That's what's up. We can't have conversations with just ourselves, so we appreciate the conversation you guys are having in the chat. Also, Queen of Four will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. We just got some little, things crossed up. Listen, Queen of Four is on everything.
Yeah.
She, you were just at her event that she had for Sacred Woman down in Georgia. She has like, how many acres?
I believe it was 22. It's 22. Yes.
Yeah, this woman.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this woman is busy. She has just acquired 22 acres of land that she's about to make into a sacred village or something. I don't know. We're about to ask her tomorrow.
I believe it's the Sacred Village of Healing. Don't quote me because I don't remember. But it's a healing community.
Okay. Yeah, we're about to have a conversation with her tomorrow. So Queen of Four will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll make sure that we update everything so that everybody knows. But yeah, that will be tomorrow. But Ellison is actually giving us the foundation for the conversation we're about to have with Queen. tomorrow, because she's going to talk about this whole idea of healing yourself. And we're like, okay, before we can even heal ourselves, we have to first start taking care of ourselves and using all the tools that we were brought into this world with. We need to really start utilizing them and just recognizing them. I was going to ask you a thing about spiritual baths. And I was just thinking, because I am in New York City. I mean, I have a bathtub, but New York City, these little places be tiny now. What happens if you don't have a bathtub where you can just actually sit down and take a spiritual bath? Or men, seems like men are not as apt. I don't know. You guys in a chat, let me know if men are apt to actually take a spiritual bath. What are some other things you can do if you don't have access to a bath like that?
Okay, so you can get a bucket and put warm water, put all your ingredients in it, and take a cup or some sort of bowl and just pour it over your head as you're standing in a shower, or maybe like a plastic tub. Just take the mixture or take your spiritual bath and pour it over your head. That's the traditional way of actually taking a spiritual bath.
Really?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yep. You just take your spiritual bath and pour it over your head, and just continuously cleanse yourself, by pouring it over your head.
You know what? I see other cultures have these little cup, little buckets that have two handles or one handle, and I'm always seeing them, and so I didn't know what that was about. So that's what that's about. Wow. Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. I've actually had the opportunity to experience a cleanse from another practitioner, and that's exactly the way that she did it, with the basin and poured it over my head. It was nice. It was a really nice experience. Yeah.
Yeah. We may have to just coordinate that with a little hairstyle.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I have natural hair, so water's always my hair is always please give me some water, please. Yeah. But okay. Yeah. Wow, that's something I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. Now Grown Girl Pro, she's like a pro at this. Crown chakra immersion.
Yes.
They got a name for everything.
I haven't heard it worded as a crown chakra immersion, but that sounds like it's powerful. I like that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And Joseph got to tell us where he's from, because Joseph is all up in this little chat, giving us some, giving commentary, which I appreciate. So, okay. So I feel like we've covered everything. Family, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I can ask Ellison. I have been working with Ellison for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. And she has this, and she has really helped me to kind of work through some things and kind of set up some things. And so if you want to contact her, right there, the moderndaysage.com. And thank you, Nisa. We love you too. That's what's up. City of Wellness. That's the name.
Yes.
Okay, for Queen Afford a spot. City of Wellness. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to her about that. That's going to be really interesting conversation. But now I feel way, when she starts talking about stuff, I'm like, yeah, because look, we had Ellison on yesterday, and she really laid some stuff down for us. So is there anything you want to kind of add or, leave us with in terms of developing our spiritual hygiene and things we should just, be more conscious of?
Just making sure that you have some sort of routine in place to kind of keep you balanced and having this strong foundation for yourself. You don't want to get too off kiltered by not making sure that you're taking care of yourself spiritually as well. In those times of chaos, that we all tend to go through sometimes, that would be a time of transformation. It just depends on how you handle that energy. So if things are, you're going through some upheavals, or, you may seem like negative energy is coming from every which way, I would most definitely take a moment to step back and observe, everything that's going on around you, and actually look at it as an opportunity to evolve. Okay. And when you are, feeling the effects of change, the best thing to do is do something that's very grounding to you. Like I said, going outside, exercising, just doing something to get back in your body, moving your body, dancing, stumping your feet, are all good things to do when you're going through those moments of chaos and change.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I want to just add on to what you said when you were talking about, when you're going through things, it's so easy to just say, well, why me? Why me? I can't believe this happened to me. But those are actually the greatest opportunities for growth. It doesn't feel like that. So listen, don't get it twisted. Y'all, don't get it twisted. When you go and do stuff, you're not sitting there like, oh, I'm so happy I'm going through bankruptcy. You're not saying that. But inside your spiritual self, you are actually saying that, because you're going to be elevated in such a way that it's going to change your life forever. But you have to be open to it. It don't always feel good on the outside initially, right? But it does move you in a way to closer to where you need to be going. But it doesn't always feel that way. So we don't want to get that, and it goes on to what you were saying about, your mindset.
That's right.
Positive. Yeah. Family, make sure that you are liking and sharing this video. And if you could share, if you like this video, and even if you didn't like this video, make sure, if you can, hit us up on the super chat, on the and if you're on Facebook, you can buy stars, or you can just hit us with the Cash App love right there at $hapifilm. When you guys contribute money to us, we put it right back into our family. The black dollar stays in our community for 6 hours. Okay. Our movie Hoppy, the documentary, we have one of the actually, he's a chairman of all the black banks. There's only 21 of them left now. Mr. Kenneth Kelly, and he talks about all the different races and how long money stays in the community, and ours stays in for 6 hours. So family, when you give us money, we put it right back into the community. Okay. And that's what it's about. That's how we reach our financial independence as communities. So we want to, thank you for any contribution that you make. Nothing's too small, because at the end of the day, you could do nothing, and so we appreciate when you guys, hit us with any type of cash donation. Yeah. And also liking and sharing this video. In the comments, thank you, and thank you. And make sure you guys are sharing the video with at least 3 people. Jabari Ozazi, a lot of you guys know him from the Shrine of Mayat. He came on one time. I mean, he was at the Power of Unity conference. He's definitely a HAPI partner. And he was like, listen, y'all got to share this video 3 times. There's something with the number 3. I'm not King Simon, so I don't know. But he was like, you got to share it with 3 people. And I always think about that. I was like, that's great. So share this video. I just have to say, thank you, Ellison, for a couple of things. First of all, for coming on last minute. And family, like I said, Queen of 4 will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But I want to thank you, Ellison, because this is one of the things, and this is why we asked her to write for our newsletter, was that, there's a lot of things, we hear a lot of things out there in our community that we can do, like all these different type of rituals, and, you do this, you do that, but just basics is what we have to really, kind of connect to, because that the basic things gives us a strong foundation. Then we can start to grow, from there. And that's one of our elders, Mr. Staples. Yes. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so you have to come back on, and we can really start adding on to these things. Yeah, I did. There was a question that someone had for you in terms of the spiritual baths, but I
Okay.
this whole idea of immersion. That's our grown girl said the crown chakra immersion
Yes.
that. Um, but someone wants to know in terms of your spiritual bath. You talked about putting salt, and but there's other things you can put in your bath. Can you just expound about that a little bit?
Sure. Um, as I mentioned, the sea salt. If you don't have sea salt, you can even use table salt. You know,
Okay.
Epsom salt, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar is very good for cleansing. One of the older traditions, like, that our grandparents use, they use household chemicals. They use ammonia, which is a hoodoo practice.
I know a little old lady that uses ammonia. The first time I was like, wait, you can't put that in there. I thought it would just peel her skin off, but apparently it doesn't. I
Yes.
didn't know that. I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing. Go ahead.
Yes, I actually tried it for the first time, I believe this year or last year. And that was like one of the most powerfulest cleanses that I've ever had. It was very powerful. Yes. I said powerfulest, but y'all know what
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna go with it. It could be a word. How do we know? It could be a word somewhere.
but that's how it felt. It just felt so powerful, like
Yeah.
it really lightened my energy. And I used um a, um a recipe from, I can't think of his name right now, but he's a spiritual teacher, in the
Okay.
community. But I used his recipe with the ammonia, bleach, sea salt, lemon, and vinegar, and a
Okay.
white candle. And you only use like a capful, because something that you have to be mindful of, if you're willing to try this with the ammonia and bleach, it releases a
Yeah.
gas,
Yeah.
a
Yes.
harmful gas. So, you want to be careful with that. That's why I was afraid to do it. But I realized that, the amount of water compared to the amount of the bleach and ammonia that you use, it dilutes it. So,
Yeah. So family, we would suggest before you do, to do these things. And like we just had like Professor Small on here, and he says it all the time. He's like, don't trust what we're saying. Actually go out and do the research yourself. We had Dr. Phil Valentine on that was giving us a lot of some medical and spiritual things to do. And he suggested that you go and check these things out for yourself before you just do them. But
yeah. Yep, absolutely. Ammonia is one of those cleansers, that you can pretty much cleanse negative energy even in your home. But just going back to the bath, some of the herbs that you can use is rosemary. You can use, these are basic herbs that you can actually pull out your cabinet. Basil. You can actually use cinnamon, black pepper. There's so many.
Yeah. You know what? It seems like a lot of these things that you're talking about are once you start working with some of these basic things that everyone has, they can do other things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up. All right. I'm just checking to make sure. Yeah, it seems like we answered all of the questions. Um, yes, that's a word. Do your research, Nisa.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. But yeah, so I thank you so much for giving us this foundation. Okay, for
You're
spiritual.
most definitely welcome.
Yeah. All right, family. And this is Ellison Nidra's website is the Modern Day Sage, and she got a lot of stuff going on over there. She makes different types of products. She also does some really good. You didn't say readings; you called them something else. You said that you don't you
Consultations?
well, no, you said something about managing energy, or you show energies, because you said you're not a fortune teller.
Yes, I'm not a fortune teller. I just help guide. I said I'm a spiritual guidance counselor. So, I give spiritual consultations more so than anything. But yeah, I just help guide you through
Mhm.
particular obstacles, and I can see things from a higher point of view, so I can see exactly what to look out for and which path you should go, and to actually help change your mindset as well.
Yeah.
Give you a different perspective on a situation.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Lorraine? Absolutely. They were hiding our stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. Ellison is being a little modest right now. She does do those things and she does them very well. And once you start kind of seeing her for a minute, she'll say, okay, listen, what do you think? Because I think that's the most powerful thing you can tell someone when you're seeing them. You start making them get in touch with their inner self, their spiritual guides, their God. Like when you start turning the tables back on them, because it's easy to tell people to do stuff. Oh, do this, do that, do that. That's easy because you have this, you have a gift for foresight, for psychic abilities, right? But then when you start helping people to tap into those things for themselves, it's very, very powerful. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, right
That's
there. I mean, yep, modern day sage.
for, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you. The door is always open here at Hoppy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. We will be in touch.
Okay, thank you. And everyone continue to support HAPI, because this is like a very powerful movement. So I just want to thank you again, Felicia, for having me on, and everyone for having me on this evening. Y'all have a good evening.
All right. Peace.
Okay, peace.
Oh, right. Oh, that's what's up. Good Detroit spirit. Okay. And thank you, Sharon. Sharon was all up in it. Yes, yes, yes. And Joseph. Okay, family. So listen, tomorrow we have Queen of Four at 5 p.m. We're gonna be ready for it because now we got our little stuff straight. We know we got our spiritual maintenance. I learned something new with this whole with the whole pouring over the head versus the spiritual bath. Like that's really, really that's pretty powerful. I'm always happy when I learn something new. So family, please make sure you are liking and sharing this video. If you are able to help fund our Hoppy movement, which is 4 principles. Number 1, love Black people. Number 2, become more financially, support Black businesses. Number 3 is to make sure that you are financially literate. And number 4 is to teach the youth the truth. Now, listen, I've been myself and Taki, we've been looking at these analytics on YouTube. Okay, we've been looking at them, and we see there's like about 5,000 to 6,000 of you guys that are watching our videos, which is dope, right? But you guys are not subscribed, and some of you may actually think you're subscribed, but you're not. So I just need for everyone to check if they are subscribed to our channel, and when you go to YouTube, it'll say subscribed. Or if it says subscribe, that means you need to subscribe. If it's subscribed with a D, that means you're already subscribed and you're good to go. And thank you, BJ. You said something very important. Hit the alarm button on YouTube. That way, as soon as we go live, guess what? We are, and you are, you're right there and you don't get to miss any of our shows because we have some pretty dynamic people coming up. Not pretty dynamic, they are dynamic coming up. Tomorrow we have Queen of Four at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Sunday, we have King Randall. And this young brother is doing his thing. He was on the show maybe a year ago, so it's good that we're going to check in with him. He built a whole school out outside of Atlanta. He wasn't taking no for an answer. So he's definitely teaching the youth the truth. Yes, thank you, Sharon. So make sure we are so close to 30,000 viewers on YouTube. So do your part. If you can't send us Cash App love, and we ain't mad at you if you can't send us Cash App love. Okay, it's not like that. But what you can do is hit that subscribe button and get other people to hit the subscribe button. Okay, that's super, super, super important. Okay. And yes, thank you, Nisa. Go to our website. Okay. It's hapifilm.com. I'm going to put that up. I will put this up here right here because the reason why is I need for you guys to get connected to the newsletter. Okay. If you are not connected to the newsletter, when we send it out and we have special discounts and special things, you won't have access to those things unless you are tapped in with us, right? And so if you go to hapifilm.com, hit the get connected button and get connected. We will be announcing an event that we're going to be doing within the next couple of weeks. So I need for you guys to be connected to this newsletter, because you'll get a little discount, and we won't be able to give a discount unless you're connected to the newsletter. Okay, that's the benefit of being connected to the HAPI movement. And this indeed, ladies and gentlemen, is a HAPI movement. It is a movement, okay? And we are very much aware of what we've been tasked to do from our ancestors and our spiritual guides and God. All of them have conspired to get us to where we are now. And we're really clear about this. And you guys are part of the movement. It's not just about myself, or Taki. It's about all of us. We just have to be here, in these positions, but it's literally about all of us, because we understand very clear. It's very clear that we cannot have a movement. We cannot do anything if we don't work together. And so the same way that you guys were all in the chat, going back and forth and giving each other information, is the same way we need to be in real life all the time as Black folks. So we really appreciate you guys. And we thank you guys for, anytime you take part in any of these things that we're doing. If you are, if you've seen One Africa, if you've seen a screening of Hoppy, if you have a copy of Hoppy, if you have a Hoppy t-shirt, any of those things, know that those things are helping with the HAPI movement, and you are indeed part of that movement. Okay. And just another note, we have we have some different things we're doing with our HAPI store. So some of the things have been delayed. We've been waiting for some shipments of things, but trust and believe that all of your things will be mailed out as soon as possible. Okay. So I think that is it. Yes, Tanika was one of those people that was on live stream at, for the One Africa conference in Detroit. So yes, keep elevating. That's exactly how we feel about you guys. It's like, just keep elevating. This information is for us to, to do that with each other. All right, fam. I think that is it. Tomorrow, again, I will be on the show with Queen of Four at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully, you guys, you can tune in live, because you guys are always such a good chat. I tell you, such a nice chat. Peace to our elders, Miss Carol and Mr. Staples. Thank you again for tuning in. And thank you for all, for everyone that has contributed to us and who are supporting us and who are following us on YouTube and all our other social medias. But thank you. And let's help us get to 30K. Okay. 30K. So in the words of Professor James Small, peace and blessings, family.
I don't know what we can talk about in this nation without talking about white superiority, honestly.
Who defines the meaning of God also defines the relationship between economy and God.
African Americans spent $1.3 trillion last year, making us the 16th wealthiest nation in the world. Why have we not turned those riches into wealth to develop our community?